So, the point I wanted to also make about this book, Discovering the Secret of a Man's Soul, is the tone with which the author. Let's read this back. God did not create men to be nice boys. He created us to live a life of passion, freedom, and adventure, to be dangerous men living in a really big story. God designed men to be powerful. Simply look at the dreams and desires written in the hearts of every boy, to be a hero, a warrior, to love a beauty, to live a life of adventure. This sounds exciting, right? Sounds like a salesman. Don't get carried away when you're reading. A lot of people do with this help shit. This is pretty one-sided because these stories he's reading were written by men who were chasing older stories, men of renown. I think he's reading stories of, I'm just going to keep reading. Okay. But sometimes between boyhood and the struggles of yesterday, most men lose heart. All those passions, dreams, and desires get buried under deadlines, pressures, and disappointments. Christianity feels irrelevant to the recovery of their heart. No wonder most men lead lives of quiet resignation, meanwhile looking for a little life on the side. This provocative book, Eldredge invites men to wholeheartedness by recovering their true masculine hearts, healing the wounds of trauma in their stories, delighting in the strength and wilderness they created to offer the world. Again, sounds exciting. Sounds exciting, but let me circle back. The stories he's probably reading and the tone of this book in general is of a man who leads a life of passion, freedom, and adventure. To be powerful, to be a warrior, to chase beauty. Like that's what you're gonna do is you're gonna create the men of the 15th century. You know, those colonizers, those conquistadors, those men who were just proud and adventurous. There was this polarity that happened in the Renaissance, and I want to talk about that. There was a clash of like identities. It was kind of wild. The Renaissance, most people know it as a time of expression and a renewal, rebirth. That's what Renaissance means in the shorthand. But in a sense, people were going through an evolution of spirit, and masculinity, femininity, all of it came into question. And there's one contrast I want you to actually look up. Is that you guys know that statue of David, right? Right, the one sculpted by Michelangelo. But did you know that there was also one sculpted by Donatello? Yeah, go look at both of them. Both of them, that contrast is really striking because you have two depictions of masculinity right in front of your fucking face. Now, assuming you just watched that or you just viewed both photos, I'm going to continue on. This is what I mean about the polarity of the Renaissance. During the Renaissance, we had the most, well, you can call it a bottleneck where the pressure just built and human creativity just erupted. Right? You can call it the divine creative spark. But then you also, on that back end, had the conquest of the new world in every part of the world. So there was that polarity. The polarity of what a man is. We had the ones in Italy creating all the art and beautiful things, and we also had the ones from Italy conquering the world. So those men of the history and career, like, you just have to really be careful with what the hell you're reading, because books like that book right there are telling you what a man or a woman should be, and that's really not how it all should. You should discover that on your own. Things like that are dangerous. They're dangerous because your perspective of masculinity is only half of the picture. Look at my analogy with the Renaissance. You're telling me about the men who conquered and led lives of adventure. I got tongue-tied. Well, yeah, sure, that's exciting. Who wouldn't think that's exciting? But look at the back end of that. Look at the pain and craziness of the world that erupted from it. At the same time, you could look at the life of luxury in the Renaissance art era where the decadence just took over and people just got complacent and greedy instead of, it's the same animal came out just with different tools. One's money, one's a sword. But again, that's the polarity. It's a cool leaf. Thought it was a feather. So, yeah. If people tell you what you are, then you won't look at the world around you with an open mind to what maybe you were meant to be instead of what you think you are right now. Because if there's one thing about life, it's not constant. Yes, we're humans. We've evolved from wherever we came from, but we're also evolving every day of our lives. Mentally, physically. When you go to work, you build calluses. That's an evolution. You go to college, you get smarter. That's an evolution. And how are you evolving yourself? How are you evolving your mind? Are you enforcing that polarity? Hey, look. Anyways, my birds are chasing away the bigger birds. Are you reinforcing that, one-sidedness, or are you kind of just, I guess, yeah, instead of creating a dam, a separation, are you just opening the levee and letting the waters flow? Because I guess I can use all kinds of flowery symbolism in this channel. Why not? That was hermetic. But of course, that also means it's, I guess, Commission and Christian. It's amazing that kaleidoscope that comes forth like many colors in one frame, one picture. It's amazing how a kaleidoscope can actually help you see clearer.